When Zara and H&M stop shouting and begin to whisper, the whole room leans forward. Welcome back. This is GTWJ. Today we're asking a question that feels like a contradiction. Can brands built on speed and scale quietly become the kind of houses people once reserved whispers and waiting lists for? Can fast fashion learn the language of luxury without losing the rhythm that made it fast in the first place? More importantly, why does this even matter to you, to your wardrobe, and to taste itself? Start with a memory. Luxury used to be obvious. It was announced by logos, by ritual, by an aura that separated the buyer from the marketplace. For decades, that separation meant prestige. Then the world sped up. Social media made visibility the new currency, and visibility favored the nimble. Fast fashion learned to translate desire into almost instant gratification. It democratized the look. It also taught a generation that style could be accessible, but at a price. Speed over substance, noise over nuance. Now the conversation is changing. The same platforms that blew trends wide open have also fatigued audiences. People who once chased the loudest statement have begun to prefer something quieter, more private, something that sits on their body like memory instead of like a billboard. And in that quiet, the distinction between fast and fine begins to blur. This is not a story about morality. It is about cultural economics and human psychology. When a brand like Zara or H&M repositions, whether by partnering with designers, refining materials, or changing how they present clothes, they are not merely chasing profit. They are answering a new consumer question. How can I have taste without theatre? The strategy is simple and brilliant. Scale meets subtlety. Offer silhouettes that read as timeless, fabrics that feel better at first touch, and styling that looks less like a trend clip and more like personal grammar. The result is a product that can sit comfortably next to a classic coat or an artisanal knit and not scream. But let us be clear, dressing quietly is not the same as dressing cheaply. The danger for any mass brand attempting quiet luxury is twofold. First, the risk of superficiality, swapping logos for neutral palettes without investing in construction and hoping the illusion holds. Second, the risk of dilution, removing identity until there is nothing left to distinguish a piece from 1,000 others. Quiet luxury, when authentic, is painstaking. It is not an aesthetic veneer. It is a commitment to where seams fall, how linings are finished, and how a material breathes after repeated wear. So why might this transition work? Because modern desire is complicated. People want the look of effortlessness, but they also want proof. They want garments that survive a wardrobe test and a life test. For many consumers today, especially those who learn shopping through screens, what matters is psychological clarity. They want to buy with intention, not impulse. They want to feel that an item says something about their life, not only about their momentary taste. Fast brands that grasp this can win new loyalty by providing affordably elegant entry points that are honest about their limits and proud of their strengths. From the brand side, the calculus is also changing. Luxury houses face pressures, stagnant growth among aspirational buyers, scrutiny over quality and ethics, and a world where spectacle can no longer substitute for trust. Fast brands see an opening. There are customers who like the quiet look and do not necessarily require a decades-old name stitched into the lining. If executed properly, that is a vast audience. If executed poorly, it becomes an inexpensive illusion that breaks at the first wash. Now, let us address the psychology beneath the headlines. For decades, conspicuous consumption answered insecurity with visibility. It said, "I arrived." Today, a new insecurity exists, an exhaustion with performative signals. People are healing from the constant need to display. They crave authenticity, ritual, and simplicity. That pivot is not poor taste, it is maturity. It is also a reclamation of fashion as personal storytelling rather than public spectacle. So what will buying look like in this era? 3 things will matter more than ever. First, provenance of experience. Not only where an item was made, but how it will be cared for. Repair becomes a sign of value. The brands that teach repair or make it painless gain trust. Second, honest laddering. Luxury used to gatekeep through price and scarcity. The new ladder allows a buyer to enter at an honest place and feel proud, not ashamed to climb. If a brand offers an affordable, well-made cashmere sweater that is clearly positioned as an entry point, the buyer is more likely to invest in a higher piece later because the relationship started with truth. Third, narrative without pretense. The story of a product can be simple and dignified. Who made it, why it was made that way, and what it asks of the owner. People will pay for stories they can believe and repeat, not slogans they can only screenshot. There will be fallout. Purists will object. Luxury romantics will insist that pedigree and story cannot be imported into a system designed to move millions. They will be right in part. There are elements of heritage that cannot be mass-produced, but heritage's power was always its emotional substance, that which can be learned and honoured by new makers. What we are seeing is not the replacement of heritage, but its translation for a broader moment. Translation demands humility from brands and discernment from buyers. We must also call out the danger of erasure. The old bargain that luxury can sustain its aura by being scarce still holds for many houses. Scarcity and craft are not worthless concepts to be dismissed. They are simply not the only path forward. The future will not belong exclusively to ateliers locked in their ateliers, nor to factories churning trend cycles. It will reward agility married to integrity. Here's the practical for you, our viewer. Don't chase labels, chase standards. Learn to feel the weight of a fabric in your hand, to read a seam for honesty, to ask a salesperson about origins without shame. Value the boutique that offers repair and clear policies. Reward brands that allow their products to age into beauty instead of into obsolescence. When you shop, imagine the story you want that piece to tell on your life 5 years from now. And for the creators, the designers, the people watching who want to influence taste, remember that subtlety is an act of courage. It asks for restraint, not indifference. To create something quiet and true is harder than to shout. It requires mastery, humility, and a willingness to be corrected by wear and time. We cannot finish without a confession. Part of the allure of this moment is the radical honesty it forces on all of us. Designers, buyers, journalists. We are no longer permitted to hide behind glitz. We must choose with eyes open which values we want to protect. Craftsmanship, accessibility, sustainability, or spectacle. There will be losers and winners, not because they were bad, but because the story they told no longer matched the lives of the people they sought to serve. So when Zara or H&M folds a coat in a way that feels refined, or when a fast label releases a piece that survives seasons, applaud. But remain skeptical when a brand trades craft for costume. Taste is a muscle. Build it by choosing pieces that answer, will this be lovely in 5 years, rather than, will this get likes tonight? If you loved this inquiry, tell us which brands you've seen trying to speak luxury in a quieter tone, and which ones failed spectacularly. Follow GTWJ Mag on Instagram and join the conversation where we weigh the claims, show receipts of care, and learn how to shop with dignity. Because the new luxury reality is less about what you wear to impress others and more about what you wear to feel like yourself. That, in the end, is the real quiet revolution. And so we return, softer now, to the thing that began it all: why clothes move us. Not because of price tags or pixels, but because they carry memory. Dresses keep the way we leaned in conversation. Coats remember the shape of our shoulders. Bags collect the small evidence of our days. In a world that taught us to swap identity as easily as we change a playlist, the new luxury asks us to slow down and look closer. There are 3 quiet revolutions happening right now. Small by headline standards, seismic by lived consequence. The first is the ritualization of ownership. People are reintroducing rights into buying, research that feels like courtship, not conquest, a repair appointment that feels like stewardship, not expense, a provenance certificate that reads like a family story. This ritual pushes back on disposability. It teaches consumers that care is part of the purchase, not an optional afterthought. Brands that offer these rituals hand the buyer a new relationship contract. We will make it, you will keep it, together we will ensure it ages well. The second is the revaluation of narrative. Once, luxury brands sold myth, a founder, an atelier, a city. Today, stories must be demonstrable. A satin lining is only as valuable as the thread count that proves it. A workshop matters only if you can meet the hands that work there, whether in person or through honest storytelling. The modern buyer wants traceability that reads like testimony. This is why small ateliers are winning hearts. They speak in the idiom of witness. People no longer want a stage script, they want a receipt of care. The third revolution is psychological. The quieting of status anxiety. The anxiety that once pushed people toward conspicuous consumption now finds alternative outlets. Experiences, time, education, and carefully curated interiors. This is not asceticism, it is selectiveness. It is choosing fewer objects that answer more questions about who we are. The brands who adapt will not merely sell products, they will sell calmer identities. So what of affordability and aspiration? There is a myth that quiet luxury precludes aspiration. It doesn't, it recasts it. Aspiration in the new language becomes aspiration toward refinement rather than amplification. The climb toward a maison piece is less about proving a rival and more about enrolling in a lineage of taste. Entry-level items, the understated knit, the precisely cut trouser, act as teachers. They create literacy, and literacy breeds loyalty. We must also reckon honestly with inequality. This quieting of luxury is in part a refuge for those who can afford privacy. The problem we must not ignore is that luxury's evolution can become armor for the wealthy, a way to hide in gentler exclusivity. Our work, and the work of thoughtful brands, is to democratize the practices of care without pretending that access is equal. Teach, repair, certify materials, build buyback programs that honor legacy pieces, make knowledge freely available even if the object cannot be. That is how taste becomes communal rather than exclusive. Now, a practical map for your wardrobe, because theory only matters if it helps you choose better tomorrow. First, invest in interfaces. The clothes you touch every day, shirts, outerwear, shoes, they set the tone. Second, prioritize construction over trend. A seam that is reinforced speaks louder than a logo. Third, curate for use. An item that answers one true need is worth more than 10 that answer none. Fourth, learn the tiny gestures of care. Oiling leather where it rubs, steaming rather than laundering, storing properly. These gestures extend the life of a piece in a way a sale never can. And for brands who are listening, don't confuse quiet with emptiness. Design with restraint, yes, but with generosity. Offer visible guarantees, show your makers. Invite buyers into rituals, even if they are simple. A note from the atelier, a visible repair ledger, a program that makes mending feel honorable. The houses that build these pathways will not only rebuild trust, they will earn devotion. We must also be candid about style's moral economy. Fashion has always been a mirror for the world's pains and its consolations. When the world grows quieter because of political risk, economic strain, digital exhaustion, fashion will reflect that hush. Sometimes we will miss the spectacle. Sometimes we will long for the live wire shock of a buzzy moment. Both feelings are true. The new luxury does not deny spectacle. It simply asks that spectacle be grounded in a practice that can survive quiet hours. Before we close, let us make one promise to ourselves: to speak truth without cruelty, to critique without erasing, to champion craft without shaming access. Taste is not a weapon, it is an invitation. We will use it to teach, not to exclude. This season will belong to the houses and the makers who answer one question plainly. When you hold this piece in 5 years, will it still say the same thing about who you are? If the answer is yes, you have something worth keeping. If the answer is no, then perhaps the purchase was for a particular moment, a worthy thing sometimes, but not a legacy. Follow GTWJ Mag on Instagram to continue this conversation. Tell us which piece in your wardrobe tells the truest story of you. Which brand has surprised you this year with honesty? We are building a house of readers, not critics, a community that learns to love better. The sound that will define the future of fashion is soft, a needle, a press, a satisfied fold. The brands that listen to that rhythm will meet the future with dignity. The rest will have to shout louder and louder to be heard. And sound is easy to lose. We will stay with the quiet. We will listen, we will learn, and we will teach.